little girl, I used to have to go to speech class. It wasn't because I wasn't articulate or couldn't pronounce my words, but I never wanted to talk to my peers. I was the creepy little girl in the playhouse with imaginary friends. But my mom says it wasn't always this way. She says I used to inquire about space and American laws and what I could be when I grew up. She said I was also a really rebellious child. I would always tell the teacher these dreaded words. But why? My teacher would give me a timeout, or she would tell me to sit down, and I would ask, but why? She said, no, there's no buts in this classroom. And I'd say, okay, but why not? In the midst of their anger, grown-ups often turned to me and told me to stop, or tell me I'm annoying, or tell me to go away. But it was never their reaction that shaped me as a person. What changed me, what caused me to be a more timid child in the early years of my elementary life, was the fact that they rejected me. Author and Dr. Glenn Croston said that the thing that we fear more than death is rejection. He relates rejection to ostracism in the animal world, where an animal is excommunicated from his family or group. Facing a social death, the animal is singled out and left alone to defend himself. And he later, sooner or later, faces a literal death as well. So in an evolutionary sense, the fear is reasonable. And humans, from the moment we're born, crave social interaction. We want to find stability and comfort in groups and family. So imagine yourself as a baby. If you were a baby, you need someone to take care of you and change your clothes, feed your diaper, feed you. But what happens if you've been rejected, if you've been left alone? Left alone long enough, you'll surely die. And at the primal level, this fear is so great, not because we're merely ashamed of being embarrassed or judged, but because we're scared that we'll be abandoned. But no matter how hard you try, virtually everyone in this world will be rejected. At one point or another, when I asked 50 of my friends, what is your most shameful moment? I asked 50 of my friends, what are you embarrassed about? I asked them for a moment, and all 50 of them could recount an experience. Out of those 50, 49 of them said that they remember the position they were in. They remember the color of the room. They remember the feeling that they had when they were shunned, excluded, rejected. This attests to the fact that when you recount these negative experiences, you're reliving pain. And in fact, humans relive social pain much more vividly than physical pain. However, George Bonanno, clinical psychologist at Columbia University, says that prospective data doesn't determine future progress. He says that it's only determinate if there's a negative response. In other words, whether you're aggrieved by a physical or emotional event, your future is not damned. But the processing of the event, whether it's glanced over or treated as a traumatic event, that's important. The first time I was rejected from anything ever wasn't a social example like my previous examples. It was my citizenship. Paired with low income, my family was barred from a lot of things. And on top of that, I had to face a social worker for a child abuse case, my own child abuse case. When I was younger, I didn't have the greatest relationship with my parents. I was scared of them when they would lock me away or push me away. I was frightened and I felt rejected. I thought that I could ignore this rejection, that it would never confront me in life. But it materialized. I had to face it in the real life flesh when I had to talk to my social worker. I had to face it in the real life flesh when they asked me real life questions like, do you feel safe in this home? Am I gonna go to a foster home? What was my future looking like? I was rejected not only on a personal level, but also on a national governmental level. I was an undocumented immigrant. My family had applied for citizenship and was denied. The fear that we would be caught, that we would be deported and sent away was so great that my father, he sent himself back to Indonesia, and to this day, we're still separated by an ocean. So I had family problems, I had undocumentation. The question wasn't who was going to reject me. The question wasn't when was I going to get rejected. The question was who was going to accept me now. But my biggest problem with this isn't that I took it all harshly, it's because I took it all so personally. If someone had told me that in a couple of years that I would receive deferred action in terms of my immigration, that I would be able to go to school legally and succeed. If someone had told me that I will feel so adored with my parents in a couple of years, that we would be able to rebuild our relationship, that my mom would say, "I love you," every time she drops me up for school. She does. If someone had told me that I would not only move forward, but find blessings in my future, then maybe I wouldn't have been so scared of rejection and its results in the past. The thing that we fear more than death, you can tackle it. First, you have to tackle your dissonance. The back and forth, should I do it? Should I go for it? Should I not? You have to do it because though inevitable, rejection is never personal. When you are rejected, most of the time, it's just because you don't fit the other person's needs, whether it be a friend, an employer's, a significant other's. Rejection, though inevitable, never determines future progress. In fact, you can look at your rejections in a way where you can find yourself outwardly expressing yourself in the moments of rejection. You can find yourself and improve on from that point forward. So maybe rejection isn't something that limits you at all. Maybe it makes you better. There was a quote by C.S. Lewis. He says, "If you want to get warm, you must go near a fire. If you want to be wet, you must get into the water. If you want love, joy, power, peace, eternal life, you must get near or even into the thing that has them." So in the end, the thing that we fear more than death is nothing to fear at all. Rejection, the thing that we fear more than death, may just be something we need to encounter in order to truly live. Thank you.